Okay. Hello, me. Um, this is a kind of video documentary of my first year of ballroom dancing. I should have brought my folder with me because that has everything kind of written out and like what time and date everything went down, and it's a much easier way to all my checkout stuff is in there and progress charts. I'll be doing this one from memory instead. But anyway, I started. What is it? We're in September. I started. I unofficially, like in July a year ago, but really this kind of late August, early September was kind of the official start where I began like consistently going to practices, because I was hurt and I really couldn't do much in like that early June, July time. But my first event that I participated in was the biggest Texas team match, which went down in September of last year. And so I only had about a month and a half of practice or so under my belt by the time I went to that first event. Experience prior to this, I knew I was familiar with one type of two-step that I had not performed, but I had just danced socially a couple of times throughout my life, but not super serious. There's really no other style of dance that I practiced. I did take about 6 introductory ballet classes about a year before, about a year and a half before this. So I just, I knew some basic ballet training that you could do, but I never practiced it outside of those classes. Was definitely not in any good kind of general shape coming off of surgery, so I was as good as physical therapy would allow me to be. But I hadn't really done anything that consistently athletic since high school. So summary for where my progress is at this year. I have checked out of bronze 1, slow waltz, slow foxtrot, tango, rumba, cha-cha, and East Coast swing or triple swing. I've checked out of bronze 2, slow waltz, slow foxtrot, and tango, and was pretty close to checking out of rumba. That'll probably be within the next month or so. So that's I guess the most measurable form of progress. Notable achievements that I've done. Our studio won the newcomer division at the last 2 team matches that I've participated in, and the majority of my dances were in newcomer, so I would consider that valid. No individual scores back from that. And then the only other competitive event that I've really participated in was the Texas Dance-A-Rama in February that I got very lucky and won the newcomer all around for my age bracket, which was like 18 to 25. And I won the top student newcomer award that's given out for like the full event. Individually, in all of my freestyles, I placed either first or gold. The gold for closed freestyles, first for my open freestyles. I was competing against probably 3 or 4 other men in my, I think on maybe even total. I may have been the only newcomer dancer in my age bracket. I think the other ones were older. And anyone left that was associate bronze anyway was older. I was really the only male dancer of my age bracket that was there. So not much of a litmus test, but winning those things is not insignificant either, because even if you are, for that type of dance or for that type of event, you are still judged against a minimum standard, even if there are no other direct competitors that you are up against. So the judges obviously saw something that they liked. Hopefully. That was at least good enough to pass. But that's all of the notable real achievements, other than spending way too much money. I guess the other thing I could measure after a year of dancing is my endurance for it has increased dramatically. I went from attending a group class per day, and that was basically it. I would just attend the group class, so that was 30 minutes of dancing a day for 4 days. Yeah, I generally only went to 4 group classes in the practice party. And then that's now come up to showing up usually an hour before the group class to do stretching warm-ups, exercises, dancing the group class, possibly dancing a second group class if it's Wednesday, and then usually staying afterwards until around 9 o'clock or so, either practicing by myself or with other amateur partners. And then at least once a week, sometimes twice a week, going out and socially dancing for another additional time after the practice. If I'm going out on Wednesday or Friday, it'll be after the practices, and then I'll go out and social dance. So generally I went from only dancing about 30 minutes a day to dancing probably on average 3 to 4 hours a day, which isn't bad. But it's not dancing for 4 hours a day. It's practicing. The whole routine takes 3 to 4 hours. And then if I go out dancing, I'm usually out for at least 2 to 3 hours, additionally on top of that. So it's probably 20 hours a week. That's the better way to measure it. From, what would that be? From 2 hours. I went from 2 hours a week of dancing to around 20 hours a week of dancing. That sounds like a lot more when you say it that way. And generally no endurance training was done outside of just consistently coming to the practices and either staying a little later or showing up a little earlier as time went on, and I would increase the amount of time I was at the studio, gradually. So I think that's been probably the most noticeable benefit, aside from, can you execute these moves? Yeah, now. It's pretty good. I like it. I like it a lot, and I'm definitely going to keep doing it for a long time. I like who I get to dance with. I like my instructor. Everyone at the studio is so much fun. The studio environment's a lot of fun. We had a lot of people come in around the same time that I did, and most of them have stayed. We've definitely had some people fall off the wagon, even some very recently, which is sad, but they were looking for different experiences than I was. And one of the things about Arthur Murray dancing versus, just club dancing, social dancing studios, is that you're going there, at least I know I'm going there to become a great dancer and a great athlete. I'm not going there just to learn enough moves to go impress somebody or to be confident in a social dancing situation. I had that covered a long time ago, and that was never really something that I needed to work on. Everyone can expand repertoire, but as far as confidence in a social dance setting goes, it's, it didn't start at nothing, but it also has improved, marginally. Competence equals confidence. But we've definitely had people leave the studio because they did not want to spend as much time on the details, and they were not as interested in really fine-tuning their dancing skills and becoming, they were more interested in learning as many moves as possible and being able being able to have more floor, what they would perceive as more floor time per their dollar, which is not a terrible thing to do, and it fits a lot of people's personalities. And I could say that it's taking the easy way, and in a lot of ways it is, but a lot of people only come to this because they just want to learn this quick. It's like coming in for the couples that come in for their wedding dances. They're just there to learn the wedding dance, and that's it. That's all the dancing that they're ever going to do. So it's kind of the same thing with people that leave Arthur Murray for other studios. They came there to learn some social dancing. And if you really want the best bang for your buck, social dancing only, and that's all you're going to do with it, then there are other places that will offer you better deals than Arthur Murray. But if you want to become a great artist, if you want to become a great creative, then Arthur Murray will offer you much more of that. Much more resources to help you achieve that kind of goal. I'm definitely still set on those to become a great dancer and a great athlete were the goals that I came in with. As far as long-term goals, the short-term goal was to recover from the knee surgery. And I would say that's a complete success. I can do everything. Well, I would have said I can do everything that I could have done on a normal knee, but I have no normal knees now. They're both a little different. So even the one I'm comparing against is technically still defective. That is funny. I never thought about that. But yeah, the recovery goal was absolutely achieved. I had a general fitness goal of a certain amount of weight loss. And that I had been progressing towards that prior to dance, and dance has certainly helped solidify the prevention of gaining that weight back, which is good. And it's given me much more healthy habits, which are things that I appreciate. Quick distraction. Okay. And then more long-term goals of becoming a great dancer and a great athlete. It looks like I'm going to be able to continue progressing towards those, and the studio that I'm at will allow me to do so. It's tough to say if I've got a real chance to become something great, but I think that competitive dancing is one of those rare sports where you can be a little tardy to the party. And that was one of the initial draws for me, that you didn't have to start this at 3 years old to be a really top level dancer. I think there's definitely people that start late in life in this sport and can do pretty amazing things. Even though they didn't spend all their young years on it. Not like I'm old, but I am past my athletic prime, which, I'm severely annoyed about, and feel like there was quite a bit of wasted time there, but that's in the past. I think I'm the only person at the studio that's really striving for something like this. I've definitely got some people that look up to me in that regard. Some of the other amateur dancers look up to me in that regard. Because I'm kind of chasing something that I think most people would find out of reach or impractical to even consider at the age that I'm at. And that's kind of neat and new, because this is the first time I've done something where I got more than friends from a social perspective. I've made friends in other activities, but this was the first time I think I left an impact on some people, and they're really interested in watching my progress, which puts expectations on my shoulders, because now I can't let them down. And I lost my camera. Boo. We're gonna hit a button real quick and see if we can get it back. Yay. I have a really cheap, stupid webcam that does what cheap, stupid webcams do. They act like cheap, stupid webcams from China. But who else is going to make them? I definitely got called out this year for being a little bit too big for my britches, and got arrogant for sure, and had some lessons learned, and had some talkings to, where I needed to get back some humility. That was certainly warranted, but I'm not surprised at how it fanned out, because I've never been in those kinds of positions before either, where I've been able to consider myself a success in something that I wasn't expected to succeed in. Because like everybody, you don't get excited about graduating high school for the sake of graduating high school, because you were supposed to graduate, and that was expected of you. Nobody fails high school that doesn't try. But you get what I'm saying. And so dancing was my own thing that I found. I found on my own. There's no prior experience. There's no prior teaching. There's nothing. There's no one outside of me that was encouraging me to do this. And so it's truly an on my own pursuit where my success or failure is determined entirely by me. And all the responsibility is on me as well, but all of the achievement is on me, and that's why I got a big head, which was cool. And now I've kind of learned to be a little bit more respectful about it and kind of try to start embodying that more role model position that other people are looking up to. I'm really excited about what's coming up this year. So we just finished our biggest Texas team match, and we've got Metal Ball coming up, and I'm trying to rush the rest of my Bronze 2 checkouts a little too quickly. And that was another humbling moment, but the next big goal is the Texas Dance-A-Rama in February again, and I'm gonna try to win everything I possibly can there. I think I've got a good chance to do it because it's the amount of time that people spend when in associate bronze, when they compete in associate bronze, compared to the amount of years of experience that people have when they feel comfortable competing in full bronze is a big difference. And I think this is the last chance of me having that newcomer advantage. It's trying to use the same kind of deal. The pool's definitely going to be bigger. The amount of experience the competitors have is definitely going to be bigger. I expect more people my age to be competing against me. But I think for a year and a half, it's not 2 years. It'll be a year and a half. Yeah. For a year and a half worth of dance experience. I think that's, again, like it was for going in as a newcomer, I think this is again the best chance I have to succeed, because I think it will take a long time for me to be successful at full bronze. For the time that I've spent doing full bronze things and full bronze classes, it's a much higher level of expectation than associate bronze, and that those nuance moments, like everything in associate bronze, all that skill and technique and muscle memory, body composition, shaping, all of that, your mindset has to be natural. All of your associate bronze skills have to be natural to be a competitive full bronze dancers, because you can't spend time like we would say in choir. We can't still be on words, notes, and rhythms a week before the concert. All of that has to be memorized and automatic, and you need to be able to execute it at any point in time that you need to, and so that you can spend time on things like musicality and the similarity for the parallel for dance is going to be your steps, your count, and your footwork, like the demonstration of the move the count of the move and the footwork of the move need to be automatic. Your positioning needs to be automatic. That would be, in part of it. Those things need to be done so that you can spend time in Bronze 3-4 really practicing more advanced moves, yes, but also bringing out more of the beauty of the dance. Really spending time on things like stretching the frames and doing more shaping work. And tango, it's going to be head flicks, and rumba, you're going to draw out that Cuban motion to accentuate moves that you hadn't done previously. And that footwork technique needs to be automatic, because now everything is faster and sharper, and if your footwork is not there, you're just going to fail the move, because you have to, there's no time or place in full bronze moves to be able to be stutter stepping and taking a breather and lagging or dragging. Either way, that footwork's got to be on time and ready to go. And I think I can do it, but it takes a long time for those things to, process and really set in. So as far as year one of competitive ballroom dance goes, I think I did all right compared to most people. I don't have much to compare against, though, because I don't know anyone else that's approaching it like I am. I don't even know if it's a unique situation. There could be a ton of me out there and they're just not in Texas or whatever. I was at the last Dancerama, I was hoping to kind of run into that. I was hoping and not hoping to run into that. I was not hoping to run into someone like me, because I didn't think I was good enough to beat somebody like me. But I was hoping to meet somebody like me so that I could have something to compare against and compete against. Right now, I'm a little bit lost, because the people that have been here at the studio the same amount of time as me are not trying to achieve the same things I am. So I can't measure against them. And I can't measure against the instructors, because they're instructors, and the amount of time and effort that they've put into their craft is so much more significant than mine. The best I can do is ask the instructors about where they were when they were at my level of experience. How good were they? Well, and during checkouts, they've seen the level of progress of other people checking out of a dance and the amount of time that they've done. And some of my checkout scores have reflected that I'm a little bit ahead, and most of them have reflected that I'm behind. If, assuming I'm held to the same standard as everybody else, which mostly, yeah, I think I'm graded a little harsher because I asked them to grade me a little harsher, because they know what I'm trying to achieve. And so I think they're doing their best to grade me against that standard. And maybe that's the way I need to start looking at it. I hadn't really been looking at it that way before, but that's a much better way to think about some of the less than what do they say? Less than desirable scores that I've gotten on some of my checkouts. And of course, it's one of those things where if I demonstrated the same checkout to the non-dancer, let's say, or just the casual social dancer, they would be impressed. But I'm aiming for a little more than that, and that's why I'm at Arthur Murray and not at some of these other studios. Well, that is 30 minutes, so we will call my year 1 of dance in review here.